Hi, welcome to our series on school counseling, the new reality. It's kind of what I'm renaming Tuesday Tips because they're coming out on more than just Tuesdays and because this is so much more about just a school counseling tip, and really it's about the whole COVID pivot that we're all having to do in this crazy time that we're living in. So, for today's series, I wanted to talk about some of the research that I've come across and some really interesting things I'm learning that relate to school counseling, to our profession, to ways we can help parents and students. And I'm going to post on the last slide kind of a references list so that you can find any of the articles I talk about if you want to read them for yourself. So let me start off with what China has learned, what the teachers in China have learned as a result of going through what we're going through now. And this is an article in Edutopia, and they talk about a lot of different things, but they give a great list of apps that they found most helpful. Kind of looking back on it, hindsight's 2020 and all that. They talk about the importance of boundaries in office hours, as well as many other neat things that we can kind of take away. Another article that I read is from PBS on parents and homeschooling, and specifically homeschooling now, as they're all having to do in the coronavirus time. And it is wonderful. It talks about the importance of passion projects kind of over academics, and really just going easy. We're not trying to do 7 hours of academics with our kids at home. 2 hours might be more than enough. Getting to know your kids' learning style and how to do that. So I really recommend that article as one that you give out to parents as a resource. Another is from the Imperial College in the UK, and maybe not the most positive news, depending on how you feel, but I think it's always good to know what's coming next. And they talk about how their studies are showing that we are really in for the long haul of this new reality that we're all living in right now. That because of the nature of this disease, that we are going to social distance for a while, the numbers go down, and then we all come out of our houses, the guidelines, get more relaxed, and then the virus pops back up. We all have to go back to social distancing. So what this article is saying is that we're looking at keeping up with this lifestyle that we're in right now until a vaccine is found, and that's about a year to a year and a half. So maybe not the best news, but I personally always like to know what's coming, so I found that article really helpful. On a more positive note, supporting our kids of trauma while they're at home. This is something that really keeps me up at night. I really worry a lot about our kids who have experienced trauma or will be experiencing trauma at home, and so I found two really good places for information. The NCTSN, which is something like the National Child Traumatic Stress Network or something like that, NCTSN, and they have a guide for parents and caregivers. It's in both English and Spanish on, how to work with your kiddos during this time. And some of the ideas in there really do touch on traumatic situations. So I really like that. Also, the Chronicle of Social Change has a super article on child welfare systems considerations, and they talk about foster care, and they talk about CPS, and they talk just about the shift in working through schools versus now they have to work through homes and what that looks like. And I just think I got a lot of good ideas from that on how to support kids. I guess ending on a really positive note, there's an article in Politico of several thought leaders in the world that predict how this is going to change, what we're going through now, this living through this pandemic, how it's going to change our whole life for future generations. And it's really positive. They talk about really a slowing down of life, which is so needed nowadays, and how that's going to last going on many years past this pandemic. They talk about an increase in kindness and just being good to each other, which of course we all want that. And they talk about much more of an emphasis on public services, such as universal basic income and universal health care, and how countries like ours are going to be moving more towards that, helping people with public services. So I just thought that made me feel really good about some positives that can come out of this. So stay well, wash those hands. Please, more than anything else, stay home, stay home, stay home, so that we can get a handle on this thing. And I'll see you next time.